lot of stuff happened for the Browns, whether it be bringing guys back, but we also did lose a couple guys. But we did restructure Jedrick Wills, converted $13.5 million to a signing bonus, added a void year, which cleared up $10 million, roughly a little bit over $10 million in cap space. Jack Duffin, Tony, I don't know if you saw, he tweeted out basically pointing out that the Browns have some restructures that they certainly could and probably should do. So I wouldn't write off the Browns being necessarily done. I don't know how much they're going to want to roll over into next year because there will be some guys to be signed. But, Jedrick Wills getting his contract cleared up a little bit helps out. We'll see. We'll see if the Browns want to add some more room. But nevertheless, there's some guys in the door, some guys out the door. Unfortunately, in a very sad, awful, horrible, sad situation, Sione Takitaki signs with the New England Patriots. Just absolutely heartbroken.
Broke my heart, especially after what I said on the podcast 2 weeks ago. He got some gloppy, but it
wasn't from Andrew Berry.
Yeah, I'm going to miss Sione Takitaki, mostly because I just like hearing the announcers say dumb stuff like Taki with a tackle.
Yeah.
But yeah, it hurt a little bit. And it caught me by surprise because I thought he would return to Cleveland, and it makes me wonder, what are we doing with the linebacker room?
Yeah, I mean, Taki was, if you said, hey, put money down on who from this roster for sure to be back, Taki would have been on the top of my list. I thought for sure there was no way we were letting him walk out the door. But he joins Mack Wilson in the glory days of the Browns linebacker room in New England. So,
yep,
congratulations.
Speaking of the linebacker room, we did add Hicks. I like that. Jordan Hicks is now a Cleveland Brown. Solid deal as well. But one of the probably the biggest news to come from free agency for us on the defensive side of the football, Zadarius Smith has re-signed with the Cleveland Browns, and that's huge. I'm happy to have Zadarius Smith back. I was kind of on the fence about it, but he brings a lot to the D-end room, D-line, a guy that we definitely will need next year. Since, the Khalil Mack stuff came and went so fast, it was basically dead on arrival.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the re-signing and the exiting of our linebackers?
Yeah, so, with Zadarius Smith, I didn't think he would be back, I'll be honest. I thought it was going to be a one and done for him. But the Browns re-signed him on a 2-year deal, which kind of caught me by surprise. I think, what ended up happening there is probably Andrew Berry looked at it and said, hey, we've been trying to find the running mate for Myles Garrett for a long, long time. We finally feel we have him with Zadarius Smith, and they probably just wanted to keep him around and ensure, at least for the next 2 years, you have him under contract. I like Zadarius. I think he's fun. I think he's a really good player as long as he can stay healthy. But I want to see a rotation there. I want to see Alex Wright get on the field. I want to see what Isaiah McGuire can do. So I like the signing. I was shocked by the signing, especially because it's a 2-year deal. But, with Sione Takitaki leaving and Anthony Walker going to Miami, the Browns have to do something at linebacker. And one of the moves that we made, Jordan Hicks signed to the Cleveland Browns. I know Dipple's a huge fan of Jordan Hicks, so shout out to you. But, listen, in all honesty, Jordan Hicks is not a bad signing. Like, this is a guy who's a veteran linebacker, who's a tackling machine. PFF has given him pretty consistent good grades over the last few years. This is not somebody who's going to come in and be a huge difference maker by any means. But, in terms of filling the Anthony Walker role, that's what you have here. And he's played on the Jim Schwartz defense. You sign him cheap. It makes a ton of sense. Makes a ton of sense. So, Yeah.
We kind of touched on it earlier. Naheem Hines with Cleveland now as well. He provides a Jakeem Grant replacement, potential third running back or second running back, depending on how you look at it. Some other exits: Jordan Elliott to San Francisco, Harrison Bryant to Vegas. Rest in peace, betting over zero point 0.5 receptions, Derek.
That made me very happy. I did not want
And
to bring
then
him back.
Michael Ford to Houston. As far as returning players, how do you feel about the fact that Michael Dunn is coming back?
I like Michael Dunn. I think he is a sneaky, valuable player on that offensive line. He can kind of fill in wherever you need him, and you need guys like that. So
Yep.
I like bringing him back a lot.
Fantastic depth piece. I can't
Yep.
say that word for the Browns. Shelby Harris is back. He was great when we picked him up midseason last year. Glad to have him back.
Yeah. Shelby Harris, Mo Hurst both come back. The Browns were losing potentially three defensive tackles with Jordan Elliott, Mo Hurst, and Shelby Harris, and they find a way to bring both of them back. Shelby Harris signed a 2-year deal. Mo Hurst signs another 1-year deal. Personally, I would have rather had that flipped. I would have rather had Mo Hurst for 2 years
Yeah.
and Shelby for one. But regardless, it's valuable getting two veteran interior players on that defensive line who worked out well. I mean, both of them were very good. So, when you got a guy like Tino there in the middle that you got to try to figure out his role on the defense, you need the vets. So, talking about Siaki Iko, but you get the point. You got to have the vets there, and bringing back both of those two guys, Maurice Hurst and Shelby Harris, great value. Jordan Elliott, good riddance, buddy. You had one good year here in Cleveland. I can't believe he got the deal that he got. That's crazy. Absolutely insane.
Yeah,
But
that definitely took me by surprise as well.
yeah, so you mentioned it. Michael Ford was out the door. Harris Bryant out the door. A very good re-signing for the Cleveland Browns. Corey Bajorquez returns to Cleveland
Yeah.
on a 2 to 3
Yep.
year deal.
I'm
I
happy
can't
to have
remember.
Borquez back. Or elsewhere, Hakeem Adeniji,
Yes.
offensive depth from the Bengals, actually. Another
Look at you pronouncing
inner,
that.
yeah, Derek. I'm pretty good. Never mind.
All right.
Yeah, Hakeem Adeniji to the Browns from the Bengals. Another AFC North to AFC North swap. Great depth piece along the offensive line. And something that broke right before we started recording, kind of. Joe Flacco got himself a deal somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, Joe Flacco was never offered a deal to remain in Cleveland in the first place. I just want to say that I think I called it. On the first episode of the podcast, I said Chops would be heavy breathing in Deshaun's ear about not bringing Joe Flacco back, and suddenly Joe Flacco doesn't get a deal. Deshaun Watson a little bit worried about screwing up and hearing Joe Flacco's footsteps in the background. I don't know,
Hmm.
but all we know is Joe Flacco is going to be an Indianapolis Colt next season.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Browns come out and make a fantastic signing, at least in my opinion. Getting Jameis Winston allegedly didn't even offer Joe Flacco any sort of deal. I want to say this: people who are still bitching and complaining that Joe Flacco's not in Cleveland, you're a weirdo. Like, you're legit a weirdo, and you're obsessed because Joe Flacco is never a part of this team's future ever.
No.
Um, the offense is changing. Flacco does not fit this newer offensive style that the Browns are wanting to run. So the fact that the Browns went out and got Jameis Winston on, yes, a 1 year up to like $9 million deal, it's $4 million guaranteed. So you got to look at it from that standpoint, because odds are he's not going to hit all of his incentives because they're probably going to be playing based. In case Deshaun Watson were to go down. So, I mean, this is a great addition, at least in my opinion. You get a younger
Yep.
backup who he throws a lot of touchdowns, but he also throws a lot of picks, but he's athletic. He's more athletic. He's hilarious. I love it. I couldn't be any happier that for the 2024 season, we now have the entertainment value of Jameis, Dub Eaton Winston on this team. I'm pumped about it. I'm
You
pumped.
know, we also have two national championship winning
Yep.
quarterbacks.
Winning
I like
mentality.
that. Yep. And I just seen this in the notes, so congratulations to whoever wrote this in. We have the most dangerous quarterback room in the National Football League. uh, yeah, unfortunately, there's over 1,600 active NFL players, and the only two that, well, do what our quarterbacks do just so happen to be Deshaun Watson and Jameis Winston. And I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of flack for this on Twitter, but yeah, we got some freaks in the QB room, and I hope they just go crazy all over the field and just throw darts all over the field in 2024.
Hey, I'm looking forward to Jameis Winston pulling crab legs out of Lake Erie. I'm looking forward to that.